Dracula. Made back in 1931, starring Bela Lugosi, Dwight Frye, and Edward Van Sloan. Bela Lugosi made a landmark performance as the Count, and it remains one of my favorite movies of all time. So, if anybody remembers the timeless story by Bram Stoker, it started out with Jonathan Harker on his journey going to meet the Count at his castle. Now, the only difference in this movie is that the character Renfield, played by Dwight Frye, is going to meet up with the Count. The local villagers tell him not to go, but he convinces them that he's not afraid and he must go to meet the Count anyway. Now, for 1931, the production on this was really impressive for its time. The interior and the exterior of the castle with the background just looked amazing because it was obviously a really big set. Unlike the people who like to use green screen to save money these days, Dracula's brides looked mysterious, and that was my most frightening part of the book. Just like in the book and in the movie, they play a small role but are not in it for very long. Dracula stops his brides before they can overtake Renfield, and he becomes his slave. If anybody remembers in the original story, Renfield was originally introduced when we went over to England after all the events took place earlier in the book. What I like about this is that the movie stayed true to the book by having Renfield having the same psychotic behavior and feeding on flies and spiders. Jonathan Harker, our protagonist, had a big role in the original story, but in this film, his role was reduced to a smaller role. Edward Van Sloan as Dr. Van Helsing was another great performance in this film. I loved every moment of his performance. The man who played Dr. Seward of Seward's Sanitarium is not that bad either. And of course, you got the two female characters, Mina Murray and her friend Lucy Westenra. I couldn't think of anybody else who could have brought on better performances than those two actresses did back in that time. This was back in the early 20th century when filmmaking was still made in black and white. That is what I love about it, and I am so thankful that a film like this has not been colorized. I can be a little nitpicky about this though. In the scene where Dracula confronts Van Helsing, "My blood flows through her veins. She will live in the centuries to come." Right when the camera is coming out, you can see a glimpse of the special effects slide off to the left of Bela Lugosi just when he's walking towards Edward Van Sloan. But that's okay because it doesn't hurt the rest of the movie. The creepiest scene in the movie is where Mina is sitting down with Jonathan. After Dracula turns Mina into a vampire, she just has that hungry look in her eyes when she's leaning towards Jonathan, knowing she's about to take him. But luckily, Van Helsing is there to stop her with a crucifix. Now, if people don't remember, there was a Spanish version of Dracula made a little after the time as this one. They did the same scenes as the American version, but for the actors, they just did their performances a little more aggressively than the American ones. The scene with Mina and Jonathan, for instance, the Spanish actors were just a little too aggressive and obvious for that part. The same goes for that Spanish actor who played Renfield. That is why I love Dwight Frye's performance in the American version. He's always calm, moves slowly, and has that weird psychotic laughter. The actor in the Spanish version just had too much energy for it. So even this film is different from the book, it still doesn't hurt it for what a great performance and timeless classic that it is. And my favorite line from Bela Lugosi will always be, "Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make." Great acting, great setting, and an awesome quality about the film. The 1931 version of Dracula is legendary, and it deserves a 10 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, hit the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned to the following upcoming horror film reviews. And I will catch y'all later.